Reporting my incentive stock options on TurboTax was a breeze until I realized that I was overpaying by $24,000, which I thought TurboTax would have caught it. It did not. So let me show you what mistake happened and how to avoid it. Let's jump into TurboTax. First, I'm in the personal and personal income sections right here. You scroll down and first you're going to be entering in your incentive stock option exercise and hold, which, to clarify, that sounds like it's a very long process in which you exercised earlier in the year and you held for a very long time. Technically speaking, you could have exercised December 31st and sold January 1st the very next day, but because those are in separate tax years, you have to report that you exercised and did not sell that year. So if that's applicable, you have to hit update. It asks if you bought any incentive stock options and you said yes, I did exercise, but no, I did not sell them during the tax year. We hit continue. Let's assume that you worked for Tesla. Hit continue. Then it asks if you received Form 3921, in which you should be reporting yes, because most likely you did receive that form from your employer if you exercised incentive stock options with them. So this is where you're entering in the information about the date the option was granted, the exercise price, and the fair market value on the date of exercise, and so on. Just all that good information. So this isn't the problem. We haven't hit the problem yet. This is where I first reported it. The problem is I'm about to show you in a second, I reported it again because they asked for it for a second time. And this is where they asked for it. It was under other tax situations. Because I was dealing with incentive stock options, I knew AMT was most likely applicable, and based on the numbers that I ran, I knew I was going to be paying AMT. So I went ahead and clicked update under the alternative minimum tax, in which it asks if any of these situations are applicable, and it asks exercise or sale of incentive stock options, which is applicable. I then went ahead and clicked yes, and I exercised ISOs in the previous tax year. I hit continue, and this is where the problem is. It asks for a second time the adjustment. I'm assuming that TurboTax would have calculated it when I entered that information for me, or when I entered that information on Form 3921, but unfortunately it didn't run the calculation for me and carry it over onto this. So I ran the calculation again and I entered it in here, but fully knowing that I had already reported enough information on the 3921 form in the personal income section, and I was really confused as I entered it a second time over here. And so this is where the problem is entering it in a second time. And by all means, please check with your own accountant as you go through this, because there may be some sort of personal circumstance that's going to be different than my personal circumstance, in which this may or may not be applicable. So this is how you double check to make sure that your number is correct in regards to incentive stock options. I want you to go up here and click View, click Forms, and we are going to pull up Form 6251. I've already pulled it up here, but you can click Open Form and you can search it there. The line to look at is going to be 2I, where it says Exercise of Incentive Stock Options. This is going to be the spread between the exercise price, or the grant price that you paid to purchase the stock, and the fair market value on the date that you exercised it. So that spread, also known as the bargain element, that was reported on my Form 3921 that I entered again in the personal income section, and then it asked for it a second time under the alternative minimum tax. Now, when I checked line 2I, I had noticed that it was twice as large as it should have been, and I realized that it took both of those numbers and added them together. This is a mistake that you need to be aware of when entering information about your incentive stock options on TurboTax. Please remember that I am not your personal financial planner. I am not your tax accountant. I am not your attorney. This is not specific advice. But if you would like to enroll with my services, you may do so by scheduling an appointment with me down below in the description. Thank you so much for watching.